Here we go. Look at him telling them there's a pistol in the car.
All right, you can grab your phone, bro. Hang out for a second. You're acting really strange because I stopped the driver and you're going off in the back seat telling me I don't have anything in my fanny pack. Now that's raising, you know what I mean?
That's raising his what?
The OYs were wilding out, hitting delis, jumping rivals, and even bragging online like it was a game. Now the whole crew's paying the price with a major RICO takedown. In December 2025, cops dropped a heavy indictment on the OYs, locking in charges for at least 13 members tied to 66 serious crimes. Most of their mess went down in 2024, and prosecutors say the OYs turned the city into a war zone. The district attorney came out swinging, claiming the OYs flooded the Bronx streets with gunfire, one deadly shooting, and even a savage slashing. These dudes weren't just sticking to their block either. They were moving through the city like ghosts, sliding on whoever crossed them. Police say the crew brought chaos wherever they landed, but the charge that's hitting hardest right now? The brutal killing from October 2024 that left one man dead. That night, the OYs spotted a guy named Treshawn Clemens on West 148th Street and decided to press him. They asked where he was from, then went through his pockets like they owned the block. Out of nowhere, one of the OYs swung and knocked Treshawn out cold, and heartbreakingly, he never woke up. Treshawn smashed his head on the pavement so hard he went into a coma, and a few weeks later, he passed away in the hospital. Police called it tragic, saying Treshawn was just an innocent guy who ended up in the wrong spot at the wrong time. But whispers in the streets told a different story. Some people claimed Treshawn was an OB who wore the jet and had been listening to the OYs. The tension was boiling everywhere, and the OYs weren't slowing down one bit. They even managed to sneak blades into a courthouse and go after their rivals inside. Roscoe, Banga, and an OY named Bloody pulled off something wild. They allegedly smuggled 2 scalpels past courthouse security at the Manhattan Criminal Courthouse. Once inside, they spotted a few ops and waited for the perfect moment. When those guys stepped out, the OYs ran down and ambushed them with blades swinging. The ops were caught completely off guard and nearly lost their lives right there. But cops stepped in just in time before it could turn deadly. The indictment painted an even crazier picture, claiming the OYs weren't just fighting ops, but turning delis and city streets into battlegrounds. Police say when they started rounding up the crew, they recovered 4 loaded guns ready for action. But here's where it gets messy. Rumor has it that one of their own might have flipped. When the court papers dropped, one name was blacked out, and talk on the block says someone inside the OYs is working with the cops to take down the whole crew. The cops stacked up piles of evidence against the OYs. But what's wild is that almost every single charge traces back to 2024. The crew's been active for years, running the streets non-stop. Yet the indictment only focuses on what went down that one chaotic year, like on May 22nd, when JB, Ratty, and JO supposedly spotted some ops in the middle of the block and opened fire without hesitation. Shots rang out in broad daylight, turning the whole street upside down. The very next day, JB texted one of his boys saying, "Look what we did last night," like it was something to brag about. But the truth is, nobody got hit that night. Just a few weeks later, things took a dark turn when JB accidentally shot himself while trying to go after more ops. It was like every move the OYs made in 2024 came back to haunt them. Police say they even got text messages showing OY members talking about Treshawn Clemens being on life support after that brutal attack. Treshawn was reportedly from the Harlem River Projects, and word spread fast that some HRP goons were planning to slide back for revenge. When J.O. caught wind of it, he didn't back down. He sent a text saying, "Forget it, we HRPK. They coming up here today." The tension was sky high, especially since AJ Watts, the OY accused of throwing the punch that put Treshawn in a coma, was right in the middle of it all. When news hit that Treshawn wasn't waking up, AJ messaged Bloody and told him straight up what went down. AJ sent a message saying, "I'm gonna be missing for a while," and Bloody quickly warned him, "Don't be on your phone, people already talking." But even with the walls closing in, the OYs refused to chill. After Treshawn fell into that coma, things only got more violent. In September 2024, Boogs and Roscoe decided to slide deep into enemy turf, hunting for trouble. They rolled up on a van parked on West 163rd Street and tried pressing the people inside. But before they could move, someone in the van pulled a gun and started blasting. Bullets flew everywhere as Boogs and Roscoe dove for cover while the van sped off into the night. But Boogs wasn't letting it go. He ran into the middle of the street and fired off 6 shots at the van as it disappeared. The OYs were living like they couldn't be touched, but the streets always hit back hard. Just a month later, in October 2024, their homie CJ got gunned down, and that lit a fire under the crew. Not long after CJ's murder, J Money and another OY member hit back by sliding to the St. Nicholas houses, spraying 10 shots at some dudes walking down the block. The whole city felt the tension. It was chaos. The OYs were spinning the block at every chance they got, even hitting delis and stashing weapons in the wildest places. They were passing guns around, reusing them for different hits like it was nothing. In one move that sounds straight out of a movie, Bloody allegedly hid a gun inside a cereal box in the back of a deli so he could come back and grab it later. Cops had been chasing this crew for years, calling them one of the biggest sparks behind the deli wars that tore through New York City. The OY's been beefing with almost every set in the Bronx. They took on the OGs, flipped the script, and then somehow ended up at war with them too. It's wild because back in the day, the OYs and OGs were actually close. Some dudes even claim both, calling themselves OY OGs. But when the OYs fell out with DOA, everything switched up. The OGs chose sides, standing with the OYs' rivals, the OYs, instead of rolling with DOA. That's when the whole Bronx started heating up for real. At first, most of the sets kept things cool, but all that peace went out the window once K-Flock got called out for showing up at a party with some ops. After that, DOA and the OYs were fully at each other's necks, with the OGs caught right in the middle. Both sides started dropping diss tracks and sending shots, both online and in real life. K-Flock's camp claimed they were ready for war, and Shaw EK poured gasoline on the fire when he dropped his track, Get Back, rapping, "When you see me, better up the knocks." Smoking J-Rip, "We don't mess with the flocks." That line had the city buzzing. The OYs didn't have as much buzz in the drill scene as the OGs or DOA, but they were still making noise. They took a huge hit when K-Flock allegedly killed one of their members named W. And just when it couldn't get worse, 2022 hit hard. That's when Notti Osama, a young rising name, was stabbed to death, marking another devastating loss for the OYs. The whole Bronx was on edge after that. Notti and his brother Dudey Osama were tearing up the drill scene, racking up crazy numbers and putting the Bronx on notice. While K-Flock was sitting behind bars on a murder case after the death of Waka, Notti and Dudey started firing shots through their music. They dropped disrespectful bars aimed straight at K-Flock, saying things like, "KK what? K-Flock on my dick. His man got hit and didn't do nothing." And "Nothing to say. Scream DOA. Put a hole in his face." Those lyrics had the whole city talking and the tension boiling over fast. It really looked like Notti and DD were next up to take over the drill wave and bring major shine to the OYs. But just as their buzz was exploding, tragedy struck. Notti got into a fight with an op and ended up getting stabbed to death at a train station. The streets went quiet after that. It was a shock that nobody saw coming. Even after losing his brother, DD Osama kept grinding hard. He pushed through the pain and kept dropping tracks, and for a moment, it looked like he was about to break into the mainstream. But as his fame grew, the beefs around him started slowing down. The heat between the OYs and DOA cooled off after DOA got hit with a massive RICO indictment that shook the drill scene. Still, the OYs weren't out of trouble because they had smoke with another crew too, the Drill. It was clear the drama in the Bronx was far from over. Spaz Drilly came straight for the OYs on his track Op Spotter, spitting wild lines like "shoot at a OO and B or an OY, SAP distancing us. We don't know why Crips linking up with Bloods, they can both die. Drill gang EBK on the north side, tell them dudes from the court slide." That track had the streets buzzing and tensions through the roof. But before the beef could go any further, the cops came crashing down on the drill crew too. Back in 2022, authorities swept in and locked up around 20 members tied to the movement, basically wiping out the whole camp overnight. By the time 2024 rolled around, the New York drill wave was already losing its shine. The numbers weren't hitting like before, and even the OY rappers couldn't keep up with their old momentum. Still, the OYs had made their mark early on. EO Babies, Dudey, and others helped put the crew on the map in the drill scene. Then Blockwork started catching fire too, blowing up with collabs and videos right before the OYs and OGs fell apart. When Blockwork teamed up with Shaw EK in the booth, The views went crazy, and their energy had fans going wild. Around that same time, another OY artist, Sugar Hill Keem, began making serious noise too. Keem and Blockwork were dropping bangers together like Move Look, and word on the block was, they weren't just rapping about the streets, they were living it. Allegedly, the two even sat on some ops and shot up a car before hopping in an Uber to dip. But that move backfired. Cops pulled the Uber over, and Keem ended up dry snitching on himself when they found a gun on him. That whole situation lit a fire inside the OYs and sparked major drama within their own circle. Keem started claiming that Blockwork had snitched on him, and from there, everything flipped. The crew that once rocked with Blockwork turned their backs on him quick. Keem and Edot Baby began dropping disses aimed straight at Blockwork, calling him out heavy. But Blockwork didn't stay quiet. He clapped back in his own tracks and made it clear he wasn't rocking with the OYs like that anymore. Things got tense fast, and it looked like the unity the OYs once had was gone. Then came more bad news. Keem ended up getting locked up and hit with a 5-year sentence. Not long after that, tragedy struck when Edot Baby allegedly took his own life. The OYs were falling apart piece by piece, both on the streets and in the studio. Meanwhile, Notti and Osama were still holding it down for the OYs, keeping the name alive in the drill scene. They had the spotlight on them heavy because of their beef with another crew called 401. That tension first started because Shaw EK had issues with 401. And since the OYs and OGs were still tight back then, a lot of OYs ended up inheriting that beef too. Things only got messier from there. After Notti was killed, things took a dark turn, because that's when 401 started the Notti Bop trend, mocking his death and putting the OYs in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. The whole city was talking, and the OY's name was everywhere, but not in a good way. For years, the OYs and OGs had kept things cool, linking up in studios and making hits together. But after Notti's death, everything started crumbling. Edot Baby had been one of the few holding both sides together, and once he passed, the bridge between them collapsed completely. Both crews started throwing shots back and forth, and even Shaw EK joined in, dancing to the Notti Bop and turning the tragedy into a viral moment. Still, the OYs tried to keep the movement alive. Sugar Hill Dot and Osama kept dropping music, holding the flag high for their crew, while Bloody started building his own buzz too. But by then, the drill wave was slowing down. Streams were dropping, and the hype was fading fast. Then in 2025, word spread that the OYs and OGs had finally squashed their beef, but most people didn't buy it. Rumors said both sides were only pretending to make peace just to cool down the attention from the cops. There's no solid proof that the OYs or OGs actually dropped any bodies, but they've been dissing each other's fallen homies non-stop, which got fans and outsiders shaking their heads. It's wild that after all that, they just call a truce like nothing happened. And now with the OYs getting slammed by a RICO case, it might be the final chapter for the whole crew. Not everyone got indicted yet, but the word on the street says the cops are far from done. Dudey and Osama are still out here dropping music and keeping the OY name alive. But the heat from the cops isn't slowing down either. They've been wild on the tracks lately, saying things that sound way too close to real life, like when Dudey dropped come on, spitting lines like, "On bro, we do not got time to play. On bro, we done touched multiple states. What's a mask? I ain't hiding my face. And free banger bro, caught an op on his block and he changed him. We done made multiple op dudes famous." Those bars had everyone talking, and the cops listening close. A lot of fans thought Osama might be safe from all the RICO noise since he supposedly never really crashed out in the streets. But even he's been slipping hints in his songs. On his track Have It, spits, "I bought a crib, trying to stay out the way, but y'all keep saying my name. They like never did a thing. Who you think bought chops for the gang? Get the money and switch like a lane. I got the money and turn my rank up. Wanna know why? Cause I'm a provider. Lil promoting the violence." Those lyrics sound like confessions to some listeners, and that's exactly why fans think the feds might come knocking next. Right now, DD and Dudey haven't been pulled into the RICO case, but if there really are informants inside the OYs like people are saying, it might just be a matter of time. The walls are closing in, and the future of the OYs is hanging by a thread. If you made it this far, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts. This story is far from over, and you won't want to miss what happens next.